Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ASCENT, brought to you by AOE and their production team, Koalas Esports, holding up the stream tonight. Beautiful stuff. It is season 5. That's right, the 5th one here. And man, have we got some matches for you tonight. I'm Stranger Cast, and joining me is going to be Nikki.
Woo! I am here. Hopefully my voice will survive. I don't know if they will, because these games are looking pretty darn good. And yeah, there's so much on the line as well, like an $1,100 prize pool among the divisions in this tournament, which is a massive tournament, by the way, like 40 teams involved, even upwards of that direction, which is so cool. It's going to take place over a good couple of weeks, good 7 weeks this will be going on. And it is brought to you by our lovely Patreons over at patreon.com/AOEsports. So make sure to check that out if you are interested for some pretty cool stuff. I'm pretty sure you get like a cool Discord role as well. So you'll be cool with your cool gamer friends. Discord and all that stuff should also be below in the stream description as well. And now that we've got all that housekeeping stuff out of the way, Stranger, we can hop into this map pool for this really exciting tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of similar style to what you guys will be used to with AOL. So if you know that, then you'll be pretty familiar here. For starters, we're going to have a control map, Lijiang Tower, to get us started. It's a pretty nice map for everyone's pretty confident on it. Then we move on to the hybrid. We got Hollywood, Blizzard World, or Kings Row. Pretty much all the fan favorites up in there. Then we move on to the payload, or to the cart, in Junkertown, Gibraltar, or Dorado. And then if we make it to Force, we're going to be out in 2CP here with the Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, and Volskaya. I'm sure there'll be some fun ones over there. And then, of course, we finish up with Nepal and Oasis. And then if we need the tiebreaker, we've got Ilios in the back pocket as well.
Yeah, I think the best maps out of all of them have been chosen. Like, you can maybe make an argument to chuck Busan in there, but Kings is there, Gibraltar and Dorado are there. This looks so good. Like, I'm very excited, and we will have some phenomenal teams playing on these ones as well. We have 2 games tonight. Our first one will be taking place in Division 2. That is going to be What the Flop coming up against Supernova. And then later on in Division 1, so our super high level competitors will be B0RB34N coming up against Goodnight. I am super excited for these games for reasons we'll get into in just a little second, Stranger.
Yeah, man, geez, we have been served up the 2 best ofs up straight away. I mean, this show is going to be a fantastic way to open up this whole competition. Of course, the rest of the divisions will still be very competitive, these guys will be the tippity top of the whole lot, so a great way to open up with an explosion. Let's have a look at this teams real quick. We'll start with What the Flop, having a look in there. Interestingly, this team actually only formed quite recently, about a month ago. So they're still a bit fresh, but it's made up of a lot of players that'll be very familiar with each other and have been around for a long time. So we start out there with K9 there on that main tank, Apollo bringing up the off tank there, mostly on the Zarya. Lazy Q is going to hit up that hit scan kind of spot. Drago there with the flex DPS. Outred on that main support, looking like we might see some Brig there, which is nice. And then Crimson's going to be up there on the flex support as well. A little bit of Lucio perhaps.
Yeah, these hero picks that you see on screen aren't really what I'm used to from these players. I would very much associate K9 with the Reinhardt. I have been in love with that man's Reinhardt for the longest of times now. And the support lineup is, I doubt we'll see a lot of Brig Lucio. I do not think that is how this meta will kind of pan out. But either way, we will get to see that once we hop into our first map of Lijiang Tower. But we have to look at Supernova first. We are coming out with a pretty stacked roster over there as well. We have Chapadoodle and Null on the tanks. Watch out for Null's Diva. They are awesome on that one. Reshade and Benny are just really, really good on the deeps. They are definitely, it'll be such an interesting dynamic between the two DPS lineups. I'm really excited to watch that one kind of play out. And the returning Mutnik, who missed out on the tournament seeding stages in the past couple of weeks, and Liam Fox, an absolute freak on the Zenyatta. So I really hope we get to see some of the Omnic Monk out here.
Yeah, I mean, interesting that Mutnik couldn't make it into that seeding, and they still managed to get themselves into that Div 2 kind of spot, which means that they're just going to be even stronger now, Mutnik being a fantastic player themselves.
Yeah, and they were second in Division 2 based on how the seeding played out, and What the Flop was number 1, I'm pretty sure. So it'll be really interesting to see if the return of Mutnik, who is very well known in the scene in their own rights, how that will bring up the roster of Supernova, because they've been playing together for a while, even in the Mutnik tournament that was fairly recently, that we had the privilege of covering as well, Stranger. So it should be really good to see this roster back in like full force.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how, the freshness of What the Flop there affects their team play. Even though they are fresh as a team, those players have been around for a long time, so they still have that experience behind them, which could balance that out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's that dynamic of maybe mechanics versus the team play, the bronze versus brain kind of argument. Get us on Survivor up here or something, I don't know. But it should be really exciting. And I think we're almost ready to hop in here, which is really, really exciting. I guess we're starting off on Lijiang, so we can do a little bit of comp speculation, but I really don't know what to expect. Players of this kind of caliber will have a much better grasp on the meta, and I think we will see something pretty definite, but I definitely believe once this tournament progresses, it will be more set in stone and more teams will find their style. I'm not sure if everybody will end up playing the same comp like they kind of do at the Overwatch League level, but I think every team will kind of find their groove, especially with this like specific map pool.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I agree as well on your earlier statement. I mean, some of those picks we saw up on that list there, I don't think that that's how we're going to see it play out, especially RK9 and Apollo on their tank choices there. I mean, that Reinhardt's definitely coming out, and I can't wait to see it actually.
It should be pretty good. We are starting off on, it looks like, indoors in Control Center. And I was talking about the Reinhardt of K9, and we'll definitely be seeing that here. And it'll be the chances for the Lucios to come out as well, because the Reinhardt really relies on that extra speed from the Lucio to just get around that little bit more efficiently, get more swings of that hammer in, and get themselves into better positions and jockey for positions at the choke. They will both be very quick. They'll be fighting in the white room just to the right of point. And they'll both be fighting in there, and they will both have sim tellies to get them there in the first place. And there'll be a lot of damage coming in as well from Benny on the Junkrat. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, wow. Supernova quick to the board there. They take a lot of map control and actually end up pushing them right back early on to just dominate this map position.
So good. There was no hesitation there whatsoever. I think the one benefit is that for the losers there is that they'll be able to recontest so quickly, and not much actual point percentage will have been built up, if any at all, at this rate.
Yeah, they're only just getting that objective now. And they've got their chance to get back in and what the flop. They want to make their way on to this point. Looks like they're already getting quite aggressive, but they're burnt through a lot of health getting to where they are. And K9 gets split just a little bit. The rest of the team trying to come up to join. Gotta be careful of those Lucios jumping in close. They can get very dicey at times. Reinhardt's swinging away, but we get an early ult here from the Junkrat, and it does clean up too, which will just keep them in control of this point still. A strong start.
And the Lucio cleaning up the scraps there as well. And I think that was won by Supernova because they had just more damage. The Junkrat coming up against the Mei, while the Mei adds some really interesting team play options with the wall and isolating people, the raw damage was just too much of an obstacle for what the flop to actually overcome.
Yeah, they are having a hard time getting in. You can see that by their decision on changing entry position here. I can see already. Super's trying to change their direction. They need to make sure that they're in place. A window here could open it up. Block on the shatter. It's not very effective there from Chappadoodle, so they're going to be missing that later, but this has opened it up nicely. Lazy sneaks out too there and gives them the man advantage as they start to roll in. Apollo wants to get in on the action as well and cleans out Chappadoodle from that front line, so without a shield, they hold out for the desperation ult there, but Null just can't land it, and then the end gets taken out. They get this point back.
That was an excellent rotation from What the Flop, Stranger. They knew that they weren't going to get through that choke just because all the damage was coming through, and also they had the turrets, guarding it, and they knew that they had to get a different angle of approach to get through without burning all their resources, and it paid off. Lazy Q got in a wonderful position, was able to click their heads on the Cowboy, so really a wonderful play all the way around there from What the Flop.
They've got a lot of ults in hand as well, and you can see they're not afraid to use them already. Drago with the freeze, and they get a support, removing a lot of sustain for them. Even with Chappadoodle right in their backline, still gets beaten out. And now a trickle kill on the D.Va could be quite bad. They managed to get off the map at least. And still, this point will be in their control for a bit longer. They're going to average out the score, I think.
Yeah, it'll get pretty close by the time this next fight comes around, and they'll have so many ults to use into it as well. They won that fight only using the Blizzard and securing off those like 2 picks or whatever it was, and that's all they needed. The rest of the fight kind of went their direction from there. And now, speaking of, we had an interesting rotation before from What the Flop. Now Supernova is pulling one out of their own, going all the way up to the high ground. If Liam Fox can get the amplification matrix off up there, it could be massive.
Oh, interesting tire position. Gets blocked off nicely though by K9. Lovely start for High Noon from Lazy across the lane. They all have to move into position to get away. Super managing to get away from it, but the slam down from K9 cannot be dodged. D.Va bomb into the sky to look for some effect, but the Mei wall blocking most of that away. All these ults being used, and a lot of them are doing the damage they need to. In the end, at this point, still in Blue's favor.
Yeah, What the Flop hasn't really missed a set since they actually got control of the objective, and with that late kill onto the D.Va, their main person who they'd want to contest isn't even there with that option at all. The Lucio is there. That is Mutnik, I believe, on the ult, getting the touch, and the fight is happening so far away, I don't even know if they'll get back.
Yeah, jeez. Are they going to hit it before it convert? No, the sneaking convert ends up working. Blizzard to take care of Null, but now just the Lucio on the point is really a hard ass. Playing it well though. The stun, as always, ends the fun on the field. And now for overtime, they really have to try and get close, but it's just a little too far for them to make it.
Yeah, even though they did get the flip there, because the Lucio was on the point, they were facing a 5v6, and that just wasn't going to go their way at any point. And that is the first round going pretty solidly to What the Flop off the back of a really good rotation on Control Center. These rotations I think will be a little bit less prevalent as we move over to our second point, which is Night Market. I nearly forgot the name of that, but I didn't, which is cool. We are on Night Market, so it isn't as closed in, which is not as good for the Reinhardt, especially the Junkrat of Benny. I think they will struggle quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see a switch off there at all. But I do think that the Symmetra pick for Reshade will stick around. This map is very well known for its tele strat, just up onto the little 2 windows on top of the objective, then you can drop down, do the guns and go pew pew pew. So that is absolutely on the cards. I wouldn't be surprised if that was mirrored by What the Flop either.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. Man, this is actually one of my favorite maps personally. I think it's just got such a great feel to it. That verticality play, if you want to you know, the edge of the map, so you can get cheeky boops and that kind of thing going off. So there's a little bit for kind of every character, I think.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of boops, even on Control Center, which is pretty closed in. There's like that one cliff spot that you get some boops. I believe it was Apollo and Mutnik, who's playing on Party 14 at the moment, who got those picks. So we definitely do have more opportunities for that. You are right. The point, everybody is still on the point though, so you could definitely still get value out of the Reinhardt. I know I'm kind of doubling back on myself there, but you can absolutely make it work. And with Control, I think Lucio is such a heavy part of how you play Control. So with the Lucio, you usually do want that Reinhardt, so it does kind of add up. And I think that this could be also a better opportunity for Drago to maybe get some value out of that mate. They had a pretty quiet round there in round 1. They didn't have too much impact at all besides that really good Blizzard, even though their team did win. So I am really hoping on this stage of Lijiang Tower in particular to see a few more of those Mei walls actually catch off those isolations and do the main job that the Mei is in there to do.
Exactly right.
It should be, yeah. So I'm excited for this, but we're just having a few difficulties, so we will have to wait it out.
I just wanted to actually talk about that previous map for a second. In the end, it was Supernova who had that strong start, but in the end, the convert really happened after the ult kind of economy came into play, and that's when what the flop was able to just kind of control the game a bit better. They had it more in their hand after they got that first push back in. One good rotation got them into the point, and then from there they were just managing those ult uses so well that it kept them in control of most of the fights. So it was interesting to see how that was working out. I mean, the early game Supernova is quite strong. It'd be interesting to see again if they're strong here at the very start, and then what the flop again comes back in strong once the ult economy comes into play.
It could also just be a situation of one team prefers attacking or defending. Like both teams seem to do better once they were defending, particularly what the flop. And that will come into much greater prevalence as we move off of these neutral control maps into very much offense and defense sided, like escort, hybrid, all that jazz. So that will definitely come into play later. And I think the defense, it makes sense with the comp of what the flop that they did better on the defense, because I was talking about it before. They have that Mei, they can hold a choke, and Supernova has to go through it. That is where the wall will get good value, not when the other team kind of position outside of the choke and then they kind of have to make something happen. It's so much more natural for the Mei to get that value on the defense. So I think it is really crucial that what the flop get a good start, which is something that they really didn't get at all on Control Center.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. They did have a bit of a unsteady beginning there, and that kind of put them on a bad foot for a lot of those fights in those next few times. And then obviously that next push they attempted wasn't exactly a well-grouped one either. So yeah, it is interesting. Already the team dynamic is playing an important role in these kind of fights.
It will keep on going, of course. So it will develop as well, is what I was meaning to say. So yeah, these teams, the more they play, they'll get a better feel of themselves and then get a better feel of each other as well. Like they'll kind of, they obviously all have knowledge of each other. The OCE scene is very tightly knit at this point, and everybody kind of knows everyone at the echelon of play. So they will have like a loose idea of what they're coming up against, but maybe of these specific teams, these specific 6 players, they might have a bit of unorthodox stuff that they kind of have to piece together for both sides.
Yeah, it is going to be a case of that. Looks like we finally managed to get over our hurdles, so these guys can get back into the play.
Oh my god, match chat is absolutely horrendous. It's so funny. The professionalism. So yeah, as I was kind of talking about at the start of that very, very long, it was Lazy Q heading over to the Symmetra. Unsurprising, both teams will be tallying up to the top of the point. Benny could actually get a whole lot of value seismic slamming off that window, so definitely do watch out for that. Both teams are setting up for that tele. It looks like it is what the flopper got a better end of it, and the boop is massive to get them all that positioning on the point. This is where the Mei of Drago will excel.
Jeez, that one boop to gain full map control basically in a second. Good rotate though for them to get back into the point, but the split off Bunny does get taken out. So now they're down their DPS, and the strength shows that one loss of the damage on the front line, and you just lose full control. What the flop, a strong start here into this point.
And this is what I said. They had that strong start, which is what they need. Because now they can just gatekeep. They have the Sim Telly turrets. I made that twice now. Sim turrets on the point, and they'll be able to hold this choke where the Mei will be able to get so much value. It is absolutely necessary that Supernova go up to the high ground here just to avoid that small choke where the Mei will be absolutely brutal to them. But they still have a few more chokes to work through, and they are really cautious around it. Are they looking for a Sim turret, Telly?
They will try the fake teleport. Put some pressure on. Window comes up at the wall, blocks it out pretty nicely. It gets mostly blocked away. Finally that wall goes. They mirror the window, and the shatter though from K9 seals the deal on the fight. And there it is, the ult use just a little bit better.
And it's also the Mei wall I was talking about as well, Stranger. It landed off, Chapadoodle was isolated. The immortality field went down, but the line of sight was not there to actually save the Reinhardt's life if you are Liam Fox there. So very unfortunate all the way around for Supernova. They're going to have to try something a little bit different, and they do have the tools to do it at the moment. They have the DPS ults coming out very, very promptly, and I think this wall, the Sim wall, is splitting the point right in half will do so much work.
Oh, but that Diva Bomb goes right to the back line of it. Good immortality field to keep the team going off it. Blizzard only really capitalizing onto Nell there, but the fight is won by pure attrition there.
Yeah, Drago, another excellent Blizzard. They have been on point with that ultimate all series long, and if that's something that sticks around, it will be a real thorn in the side of Supernova. Apollo just going for the reset and making sure that they get the mech back. And this does give a brief opportunity for Supernova where they will be able to take a 5v6, but they'll have to get a wriggle on because Apollo's on the move and getting the taxi from the Lucio as well.
It's even harder to get into this point because once they do finally get through that door, which they've struggled to do, those lasers are full blast. Another good split off wall. Diva Bomb in the middle of the point finds absolutely no one. That is just how crazy the shielding is going right now. Great boop attempt off by that Diva there. Null's really trying to split the team as they can. They have got some point control here. If they can get some good boops going, that'd be good. But K9 comes in strong with the hammer as usual. Dominates the support line, even with the shield. There's not a lot Sim can do to win a fight out like this, and the clean sweep wins them the map.
Had a bit of a slow start, but once they got going, they were an unstoppable force on Lijiang Tower. What a performance from What the Flop there. That was wonderful, especially the turnaround from K9. Hopefully that will be the play of the game that we get to see here. And it is. Oh no, it isn't. No. Oh, but here's the Mei wall onto Chapadoodle that was fight-winning E-click from Drago on the Mei. Cleaning up with the chatter either way is K9. And
Locks
now...
out the window and the immortality there. That's just crazy.
It is absolutely filthy. So everybody at home, we are not quite done. This series does need to keep on going, but we are going to have a technical restart in this map. The old turning it off and back on again. It always works. From the looks of things, we will be heading to Hollywood, but that will be on the other side of a quick restart. So I hope to see you soon.